Okay, viewers, let's dive right into it. If you are enjoying this content, remember to like this video, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Alright, let's go. So here's what's happening right now. Simon Ekpa, yes, the controversial separatist leader linked to IPOB, has just been sentenced to 6 years in prison by a Finnish court. This man has long been a lightning rod. For some, a voice of resistance, and for others, a figure of division. Now, in relation to that, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB, currently on trial in Nigeria, has responded to this prison story involving Ekpa. That's what the headline, "See What Nnamdi Kanu Says About Simon Ekpa Prison Story," is all about. So let me tell you the gist of what Kanu said, what implications this has, and what it might mean for Southeast Nigeria, and for Nigeria generally, what Simon Ekpa was convicted for, and how Kanu is reacting. First, just to recap, Ekpa was found guilty by the Finnish court on multiple charges, terrorism-related offenses, including incitement to commit crimes with terrorist intent, being part of a terrorist group, aggravated tax fraud, violating legal ethics because he claimed to practice law without proper authorization. The court's reasoning was that his broadcasts, his directives from abroad, and his alleged assistance to armed groups crossed the line from political agitation into actual criminal conduct. Now, what did Kanu have to say? Kanu, speaking from his current legal and detention context in Nigeria, has tried to frame the story in a way that protects his own position. He has characterized Ekpa's imprisonment as a vindication of the risks that those who promote the Biafra cause face. He suggests that those who are more vocal, active, perhaps even radical, get targeted, and that Ekpa's sentence should be seen in light of the pressures activists undergo. Kanu also emphasized that Ekpa's case is not the same as his own. He says that Ekpa's methods and actions, especially calling for violence or engaging in acts that the Finnish court found illegal, put Ekpa in a different category. For Kanu, he tries to maintain that his own cause is political and constitutional, not criminal. The message is, don't lump me with Ekpa's kind of actions. He also pointed at the contrast. While Ekpa was fairly quickly tried and convicted in Finland, his own trial in Nigeria has dragged on for years. And so, he uses that contrast to say, look at how quickly justice was done there. Why is it so slow here? That becomes part of his narrative for injustice, delay, and selective punishment. What this means for IPOB, the Southeast, and Nigeria. Let's break this down. Credibility and internal divisions. Within IPOB and among supporters of the Biafra cause, there has long been tension over leadership, tactics, and legitimacy. Ekpa, at some point, declared he could no longer follow Kanu because Kanu was imprisoned, etc. With Ekpa now convicted, some supporters may feel betrayed, others vindicated. Kanu will likely use this moment to solidify his leadership claim. Message about jurisdiction and accountability. The fact that a foreign court in Finland was able to move swiftly. Arrest, trial, verdict in less than a year becomes a talking point. Many are already pointing out Nigeria, with its laws, has tools for justice already, like the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, ACJA, 2015. But slow processes, adjournments, weak evidence, political interference have made delays chronic. Kanu wants to leverage this contrast to criticize the Nigerian justice system. to say that it fails those embroiled in political cases. Deterrence or suppression. Ekpa's conviction can be used by the federal government to warn other agitators. This is what happens when you cross the line. Even from abroad, you can be held accountable. The military and security apparatus are applauding the verdict, but supporters of Biafra could see it as suppression, that any voice critical of the state becomes a target. Kanu's framing will aim toward, we are resisting oppression, not in the wrong. Impacts on the southeast region. In the southeast, the effects are real. Sit-at-home orders, disruptions in commerce, fear of violence, tensions between indigenous security forces and civilians. Ekpa's directives have been tied to economic losses, lives lost, businesses shut. Some residents welcome the conviction, hoping that disruption would reduce. Others worry that the vacuum will lead to new leaders or new conflict. Precedent and international cooperation. The case shows that states can cooperate across borders when addressing terrorism and radicalization. It sets a precedent. Being abroad doesn't guarantee immunity. Kanu may try to argue that his case is local, political, and should be tried in Nigeria. But authorities will press that any action which incites violence crosses lines beyond domestic boundaries. What viewers should watch out for, and what's next? Will Kanu step up or change tactics? Because Ekpa is out of active frontline agitation for now, Kanu might see this as an opportunity to consolidate support, reshape messaging, or pivot to more legal routes. Appeals and counterclaims. Ekpa's defense will likely appeal his conviction in Finland. He'll try to argue procedural flaws, double standards, or separation of speech and incitement. Meanwhile, his camp may mount a legal and PR fight. Nigeria's government and the judiciary response. Will the Nigerian government use the Ekpa judgment to push for a faster conclusion of Kanu's trial? The DSS and security agencies are reportedly pushing for finality in Kanu's case, seeing in Ekpa's sentence a green light to apply pressure. Security and stability in the southeast residents, business owners, and locals will watch whether this verdict reduces violence or sparks backlash. If voices are suppressed, underground movements could intensify. International human rights and due process questions. Kanu's team and human rights groups will stress fairness, the lawfulness of his rendition to Nigeria, alleged rights violations, and demand transparent trials. So that's the gist of what is happening around that headline. See what Nnamdi Kanu says about Simon Ekpa prison story. It's not just about words. It's about legitimacy, blame, justice, reaction, and control. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this interesting or enlightening, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and drop your comment below. Tell me what you think. Did Ekpa deserve that sentence? Is Kanu being treated unfairly? What should the government do? Let's interact.